Are your sales still struggling during COVID-19? On this episode, I'm going to give you tips on how to turn that around.
Gladiator in this art of war. What you think that I've been fighting for? Got a cape on like a superhero. They rushing at me like a matador. Nah, I don't need your energy. I don't need the negativity. I'm just trying to bring my people up. Promise y'all I got the remedy. Straight to the roof, tell them we bringing the troops. We got a little surprise, you thinking that we ain't the truth. We give it 120, we never make an excuse. So go run and tell everybody down that we coming for you.
What's up, guys? Kyle Milan here, and whether you are listening to this on the podcast or watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, and be sure to leave a comment below so we can hear your thoughts on this episode. So let's talk about COVID-19 and how it absolutely crushed a lot of sales engineers and technical salespeople out there, and still is currently. This is not something that's going to go away. Actually, about 6 weeks ago, I was at an event. They brought me in to speak specifically about this subject to a bunch of sales engineers, and it was a great event, and a lot of value came out of it. So I figured, hey, let's put this on an episode and share it with a bigger audience than what was in person. So the first thing we're going to talk about is traditional sales. So the traditional sales way that industrial salespeople, technical salespeople have been doing it is you've got the main categories of face-to-face, trade shows, cold calls, cold visits, all those things that you guys have currently been doing or were doing pre-COVID. And all that stuff basically halted in a moment. Some salespeople were let go or furloughed, or everything just put pause on it, like, hey, let's wait and figure out how is this really going to impact us. And it crushed a lot of people because now you've got a sales force out there that's used to doing things the traditional way, and now they've got to deal with this completely new way of being at home, not being able to travel and do their traditional sales. Trade shows were great. Trade shows were great 10 years ago. They worked amazing to get leads. And over the last 10 years, it's gotten slowly worse and worse. Maybe now during, post-COVID 18 months, because we're still in it, and I think that we're going to stay in the COVID era for the next couple of years with it affecting normal sales and normal business. Maybe now trade shows will have a bigger impact because so many people are getting stir crazy sitting at home, not being able to travel, that everybody started going to trade shows. Just a few months ago when the first industry trade show popped up, huge attendance, huge numbers, because people were itching to leave the home and leave that environment and go and socialize and try and get some deals done. But the traditional sales way basically got killed 18 months ago when COVID came up. And I feel like for the people that we work with, it's been killed for a couple of years. It just hasn't been working the normal way. And there's a new way of doing it, which we're going to review on this episode. So now that we understand the traditional way of doing it, let's talk about what's working now. Everything's virtual now. What's funny from our standpoint is that we've had virtual employees for years. For the last 6 years since I started the agency, we've been doing Skype calls or Zoom meetings or GoToMeetings and all these video stuff we've been doing for at least 4 years. A lot of companies have, but then from an industrial standpoint, industrial companies are the fastest to implement any sort of technology to help improvement, throughput, quality, things like that. But when it comes to other technology with marketing or other technology with sales, it's just the slowest to respond. So it kind of forced the industrial market into what has everybody else been doing for the last couple of years. And now everybody that we talk to wants to do a video call because that's what they're used to now because of COVID. And so from a virtual standpoint, the people that thrived and survived last year in 2020 were the people that were already doing the virtual aspect of virtually selling and virtually engaging with people before COVID hit, to where once they were basically sidelined and couldn't go anywhere, they were like, okay, I'm just going to focus on what I can do, which is this virtual stuff, and keep doing that. And then they started boosting through the roof with activity, and they were, the only ones out of their competitors that were doing this stuff, and they didn't see a huge hit. But for most companies, they weren't doing that. So what do I mean by virtually selling? Virtually selling, I'm specifically going to talk about LinkedIn. And if you're a follower of my content, you know I'm extremely bullish with LinkedIn. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread right now because it works. It's the lowest hanging fruit. You can get the attention of people the fastest that you're trying to get a hold of, but it is complicated and a lot of times people mess it up. But virtual selling just basically means you don't have to physically be there. You can do things over the phone through video call, but how do you get a hold of them? Once people started shutting down their doors and they had to quarantine and things like that, people are not in the office every day anymore. Some people still aren't in the office every day. Some people said, hey, I like this working from home thing. I don't have to travel into work, so I'm going to stay at home and just forward all my calls to my cell phone. It's not the same environment. You can't get a hold of the same people as easily as you used to. You can't call an operator and have that operator say, oh, Joe or Susie or whoever, yeah, they're in a meeting, I just saw them walk past. That doesn't happen. It's their remote, let me push you through to their phone over there, which a lot of times they're not going to answer. So the fastest way to get a hold of them is going to be on LinkedIn. And that's where they're already remote, or even if they're in the office part of the time, or if they're back to the office, they've got a LinkedIn profile. Everybody that you're trying to sell to, unless you're going after very small mom and pop companies that have 2 employees, even those times, a lot of times if they're younger companies, they have LinkedIn profiles. But everybody that you're trying to go after is already on LinkedIn. And I'll link a playlist above that goes to all of our LinkedIn content and everything that I talk about with profile optimization and how to build out searches and how to get company page growth and how to create content and all that. It's all in the playlist there for you. And you can take it step by step and watch all the video and consume the content. And for those of you on the podcast that can't see it, go to my YouTube channel and look at that playlist, because I talk about everything about LinkedIn. But let's break it down a little bit here. The first thing you want to do is optimize your profile. You do not want to build out your network without your profile being optimized first, because it's going to directly impact how fast you can build out your network. People will look at your profile. If it sucks, they're going to keep scrolling or hit the ignore button. So you want to optimize your profile. Check out my episode on how to do that. The next step you're going to do is want to build out your network, and you don't want to just go after one person. Check out my episode on circle of influence in sales. You want to go after everybody. It's not just the decision maker. It's about the decision maker, all of the people around them that can influence the decisions, cross-departmental, cross-functional teams, other managers of other departments that all work together with purchasing, engineering, operations, things like that. They all work together. You want to connect with them all, and that's how you're going to try and build out your network. The next step is going to be creating content. Now, if your company hired an agency like ours, we're already creating the content for you and we do most of the work. Then you just have to like or share it. If you work for a larger company, then you can like or share their content, which is easy. If you have to create it your own and you have no support whatsoever, it's a big undertaking. But I've got a lot of episodes about creating content, how to do it in different ways, and hacks you can do to create it on a daily basis. It is super easy. A lot of times you can already take stuff that you already have and just throw it into a post and put that out there. But you have to take some sort of content and you have to share it on a daily basis, because you do not know when your connections and people you're trying to connect with are on LinkedIn. And without knowing when they're on, you don't know if they're going to see it today or not see it for a week. So you have to do it every single day. From an industrial sales standpoint, this is all about timing. And technical sales is all about timing. You can call somebody today, they say no. You call them tomorrow, they say, actually, a problem just popped up yesterday I wasn't even aware of. And now I do have a need for your service to solve this problem that I now have. Create content on a daily basis, or if you're, like I said, if your company does it, just share it out there on a daily basis. The fourth aspect is going to be engagement. You have to engage with your network. Gone are the days of saying, here's somebody's name in a company, I'm going to go directly and sell them. I'm going to say, hey, here's all my stuff, here's the problems we solve, here's the solutions we have, here's all of my spec sheets, my data, my presentation. It's such a impersonal way of selling, because you're basically saying, here's everything we do, you're throwing up your content on them, and then you're expecting them to say, yep, I have a need, raise their hand, and then you have a call with them, and then you close them as a client. That stuff doesn't work anymore. It has to be very light and airy, and you want to engage with them first on the platform of LinkedIn by liking their content, leaving comments, getting noticed, sharing it out there, and then once they've been a connection for a few weeks, then you can get into sending them a piece of content that your company's made. You do not want to say, hey, I do this, do you want to buy? Or I do this, do you have a need? You don't want to do that right away. People don't want to be sold on LinkedIn. They want to engage and create a network. So you need to say, hey, here's 2 pieces of content that we wrote last month that I think that you're going to get some value out of. That goes a lot further than saying, hey, here's what we do and why we're awesome, and this is why I think that you should buy from us. Do you have 20 minutes available next week? That doesn't work. It hasn't worked for years. People are annoyed with it. It's all about value-based selling and content marketing and marketing-driven sales to try and put content out there. It's like give, then ask. You want to give them value first before you ask for something in return. This is really what it comes down to. And so much of that is missed in the technical sales world. They're just like, Yep, I've got a solution. You've got a problem. You want to buy from me or not? Okay, you don't. I'll go on to the next person. It's showing, look, I'm not here to just sell you. I do value your connection. I want to build a rapport with you. Engage on their post. They'll engage back on yours. Send them content to educate them. Breathe a little bit and give it some time. But you can't build that trust if it's, hey, you want to connect? Yep, I do. All right, do you want to buy from me? No, they don't. And they will remove the connection or possibly just, not respond to you and never respond to you. And then maybe talk some smack about you internally, which is the last thing that you need. So it's less about direct selling. It's more about content marketing, selling, and marketing driven sales. This is what's working. This is what has worked for the last 2 years. This is what I believe will continue to work for the next 12 to 24 months unless Microsoft messes something up with LinkedIn. Unless they mess something up or unless somebody creative comes up with a better solution, LinkedIn is the best option for B2B salespeople, especially technical salespeople. This is where you need to put all your chips in and focus on this because this will be more important than email marketing, cold calling, cold visits, and trade shows all combined into one. A nice, strong profile and good content and good engagement. And as you're doing this, you need to look at strategy adjustments and say, okay, this is working, this didn't work. You need to be nimble and adaptive to what is the market telling you. If you try messaging a certain way and you don't get responses, make an adjustment and try again. This is not I tried that, it didn't work, I gave it up. I moved on to something else. This does work. You just have to make sure that you make adjustments to your strategy, slight micro adjustments. As you continue to go out there and try this, make slight micro adjustments and then just do it on a daily basis. This is something you cannot start and then stop and start and stop over and over again, month after month. You have to get fully invested. I guarantee if you give this 60 days straight, 5 days a week for 2 months, you will get significant results. We have clients that we manage their profile for them because they're too busy and we want them focused on closing deals and not outbound sales. We manage it for them and they get significant opportunities on a monthly basis from LinkedIn that they did not think was possible. Their networks are blowing up from 300 connections to 1,300 connections, 3,000 connections, and they're good, valuable connections because they're relevant. You're not just building out a network with real estate people and coaches and entrepreneurs and all this stuff. It's people within their industry that's super relevant to them. So when they share a piece of content, that person sees it in their feed and is like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to engage with it. This stuff works. I hope that you got value out of this episode. This is what will put you through to get through COVID-19. Besides all the other things and all the other troubles that you have, if your pipeline is suffering, please, I implore you to give this a try. You will not be dissatisfied with it. I guarantee that it'll work. If you have comments, if this worked for you, if you want some strategy tips, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will see you on the next one.